So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us again with another episode of Science Save Sharks. Today is the Q&A session on our previous session involving Miss Kelly Baker. Kelly, thank you very much for joining us again.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, Dickie.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure chatting to you, Kelly. So, guys, for those of you that missed out on our session on Wednesday, we were talking about superfish and the healing of great white sharks, the process behind it, how long it takes, and also how does it occur. So, firstly, we really want to apologize that we had to postpone yesterday. Part of our marine dynamics team were in the field. We were looking for turtles along the South African coastline because with the big weather systems that we've been having, some of these smaller turtles, these younger turtles, have been washing out on the beaches. So it is part of our job to get them back to the not back to, but once we get them to the Two Oceans Aquarium in Cape Town, so these guys can be rehabilitated and released into the wild. So thank you guys for tuning in again today. We really love turtles, but so today is the Q&A session, and Kelly, we have some questions that we're going to be working through. And the first question, guys, came from a friend and colleague, colleague of ours called Kareem. And Kareem, thanks for asking this question. I'm sure you're tuning in today. Is what is the importance of the monitoring and wound healing of these great white sharks? And I'm going to hand that over to you.
Yeah, so this is something that we did want to touch on during Wednesday's main session. We just filled that session with so much, we just didn't get to it. So great to be able to address that now. Now, the importance of studies like this. These sorts of studies or monitoring of wounds, it allows for an idea of how well a species can cope with such injuries, and its chance of survival from these injuries. So it's important in a conservational sense, especially with or due to the increase in threats such as boat strikes, or the discarded waste pollution that's going into the system. So we did touch on wounds that could be inflicted by those matters during the main session, but it's also gives an understanding of how a species will react to scientific practices like tagging or tissue sampling as well. Furthermore, not only will it be, or will we be gaining more information that will benefit the species itself, but it also can advance human medicine. So, for example, and we did touch on it briefly, the genetic side of things. Investigation of the quick healing abilities of these animals has led to the sequencing of the sharks' genomes. So researchers are trying to understand which genes contribute to this and translate this into the development of wound healing in human medicine. So not only beneficial for the animals, but something that can actually be transferred into our own biomedical interests. So thank you, Karim, for asking that.
Yeah, and Kareem, just from my side as well, not only is it very interesting, but it's damn well impressive. I mean, Kelly, you and I mentioned on the previous show that we have seen these sharks healing from incredible wounds that they've sustained over a short period of time. And that in itself, the study of that, the processes behind it, and how quickly and magnificent it actually is, that is just incredible to witness. So, apart from just the benefits to human and shark kind, it's very, very cool to see in action. And then we've also got another question, Kelly. It is from Tasha. Tasha, thank you very much for tuning in. You always tune in, and thank you for this question because it is also quite an interesting question, topic to touch on, and that is how long does it usually take for these wounds to close up on the sharks? And Kelly, before I hand it over to you, Tasha, I'm just going to mention from my side is firstly, I'm thinking, Kelly, that would depend on the severity of the wound that we're talking about.
Exactly. Very much similar to any species, including ourselves. The extent of that wound is going to determine the response or the healing time. So response depends on the extent of the injury or the degree of the damage. For example, in our white sharks, if I could say this just to give a little bit of an idea as well, the area of the shark in which the injury has been sustained. So, for example, we looked at prop. We used prop, the male white shark that was hit by a boat in our examples on Wednesday. Now, pardon me, that injury was sustained on the dorsal surface of the animal, so the top of the animal. Now, the muscle banding there is quite thick in comparison to the ventral side, the underbelly of the animal. So a sort of injury that is sustained there is obviously not going to be as severe as, say, one that could be on another area of the shark. Something else maybe to touch on, which we did also have a little bit of a chat about or touch on Wednesday's session, was the fins of the shark. So due to the nature of those fins, the cartilaginous fibers, injuries sustained to the fins, things that we have seen here in Gansbaai, generally don't heal as well or quickly as what you could see on other parts of the animal. So again, thank you, Tasha, for joining us on our live sessions, and thank you for your questions too.
Yeah, man, that's a very interesting question, and thank you for your answers on those specific to Kelly. Guys, if you guys are watching, if you have any answers, or well, we've got some we've got some answers, I'm sure. But if you guys have any questions, we'll feel free to answer them. Are the great whites still in the Gansbaai area? Well, this is going to be between myself and Kelly. It's a very interesting question to be asking at the moment, because obviously we've spoken about this before. There's a lot of things from commercial longlining, illegal fishing activities, orca predation, everything affecting the sharks along our coastline, food scarcity. But Kelly, we haven't discussed this previously, but according to some fisherman reports that I've just heard this week, obviously you and I haven't had a chat about this, they did see 2 individual great white sharks behind Dyer Island, Chris, within the past 2 weeks.
No, just on top of what Dickie said, during this current situation with lockdowns and social distancing protocols, we're really not operating to the extent that we can really answer this, But like Dickie said, there has been a few accounts from the area that the whites have been spotted in the Gansbaai area. So good to hear. And I know that there's been a number of sightings close by to us as well. So yeah, hopefully they're still around.
Hopefully they're still around. So Chris, what we like to say in the biz sometimes when faced with a difficult question is we can neither confirm nor deny whether there are currently any great white sharks within the immediate area of Gansbaai, but we are hoping that there are.
The joys of working with wildlife and nature, right?
Yes, 100%. Boom. So guys, any more questions? Kelly and I are here. We'd love to hear from you guys. Kelly, do you have any questions for me regarding the wound healing of white sharks or their distribution?
Not really. No, I hadn't thought about this one. You put me on the spot. I do actually have a question for everyone that's viewing or has been viewing us, who might see this video at a later date. We are reaching the end of our session. So we are currently in the last month of our Science Save Sharks live streams. And we'd actually like to hear from our viewers, wouldn't we, Dickie? So yeah, we'd like to hear, we'd like to. So we're turning this Q&A back onto our viewers, and we'd just like to hear from you guys, your favorite sessions or parts that you've really enjoyed. So it would be great if you guys could pop that in our comments, and we'll look at that during the next month, I would say.
For sure, guys. We're the ones asking the questions now.
We have another.
Kelly, I'm leaving this one to you
Okay,
again.
yeah. Thank you, Etienne. So Etienne's asking, do you think all sharks have the same healing power, or do you think that their environment plays a role, e.g. Different ocean temperatures? No, I believe that the environmental factors do play a role. Your ocean temperatures and the research behind it, or previous studies will back this up, that varying temperatures do influence the healing of these animals. So depending on the species and its distribution, you're going to see a variation there. Amongst the species as well, there is talk that each species actually has different levels of healing. So we mentioned, again, the genes that they're looking at, those are very much the two main species they're looking at is the great white shark and hammerhead. So there is variation there, and the environment does play a role there.
Yeah, I would think so too, Kelly. I mean, if you're just looking at normal, obviously we're talking about sharks, not humans, but if you just say, for instance, how your body would cope to dealing with something in fair, nice, sunshiny weather, rather than dealing with that same almost in strenuous, strong, horrible weather conditions, which is obviously already causing a toll on your body, and then dealing with something else as well. So I definitely think, Etienne, that environmental factors do play a role as well over that period of healing time.
I think we also have to look at the optimum conditions for those animals, or the preferred conditions for those animals. So when an animal is not in that setting, they're going to have to cope with that variation. It could be increased stress or a higher energy demand to level out those different factors. So no, very much so.
Yeah, 100%. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We've got a couple of announcements that we would like to make when it comes to sort of towards the end of, or the beginning of the end. And Etienne, firstly, I wanted to say I love the way how you said healing power on the previous question, because it is definitely the power of healing comes to these animals. But guys, we are going to be running a competition where you guys can win a great white shark dive experience for you and a friend or a family member, and this is for the subscriptions to our Marine Dynamics YouTube channel. Ever since we started Science Safe Sharks, we've been asking you guys to subscribe, check out our YouTube channel, subscribe, like the videos, comment, whatever. So we will be running a competition, and then on our last episode, which I'm not exactly sure when it's going to be, should be soon.
About a month.
Yeah, in about a month from now, guys, we will be handing out excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. We will be handing out or we will be announcing the winner of a competition, which will be shark cage diving with us at Marine Dynamics. An incredible opportunity to see these incredible predators in their natural environment, in their natural habitat. So for those of you who haven't subscribed, you still got some time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our links, check out our videos. I'm sure you guys are going to like it in any way. Anything to add to that, Kelly?
Those vouchers as well, that you could go into the draw to win. It's a 3-year valid voucher, isn't it? So I understand now is not the time for people to travel, but those vouchers will be valid for 3 years.
Yeah, man. So guys, definitely check out our YouTube. So it would be really cool to have you guys over here. Especially for those of you that are winning the competition, because because that's why I'm encouraging you. Come chill with me, come chill with Kelly, come check out these magnificent animals and the habitat that they're in. and the area that we're operating from within Gansbaai, South Africa. So for those of you that are new, that is watching this for the first time, not really knowing what's going on, we are based in Gansbaai, which is about 2 hours away from Cape Town in South Africa, and we've got a lot of cool stuff for you guys to do over here.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, 100% for sure. So guys, if there are no more questions on today's specific live stream, who's up next week, Kelly? We have Alina.
Yeah, so Alina Proskina, our colleague, will be joining you next week, Dickie. So we ask that everyone tunes in. I'm sure it will be an interesting session.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. So, guys, we love having you guys tune in. Thank you very much for joining us today. Go check out, well, that's the Marine Dynamics Academy website. So, Kelly, I'm going to let you talk about that for a bit. I've usually just say the dict.org.za, which I usually point to the Marine Dynamics Academy.
Yeah, so for those of you that may have been tuning in the last few sessions, it has been mentioned a few times. If anyone has really found our sessions interesting and would like to dive more into what we do, we are looking at any interest for mentoring programs. So if you've got any interest in perhaps joining us for more in-depth sessions, you're welcome to contact us on that address there, academy@marinedynamicstravel.com.
Yeah, boom, guys, boom. So Tom Slough, another interesting topic. Yeah,
Thank you, Tom.
Guys, Tommy is another biologist working with us in the Gansbaai area, a very knowledgeable guide and one of my very good friends. He's a lot of the time accompanying us on adventures when it comes to the sharky stuff that we do. So thank you very much for tuning in this evening, Tommy. Other than that, guys, we are starting to close up with the Science Safe Sharks sessions. But if you guys, we know we're getting closer to Shark Week in August. We are planning another series that you guys will love. But if you have any suggestions, anything you want to know, anybody you want to talk to, anything that you want us to talk about, let us know, man. We can definitely, we'll try our best to make it happen. I'm not going to promise you the world and not deliver, but most of the world. We'll try our best. We'll definitely try our best to make that happen. So thank you very much for tuning in. And Kelly, it's always such a blast to talk to you. I mean, we didn't even cover everything last time. I'm sure we're forgetting a lot of this stuff today. But thank you very much, guys. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, Tasha. Thanks, Kareem. Thank you, guys. And thanks, Etienne. Thank you for your question as well.
And Chris as well. Thank you for yours as well.
Yes, Chris as well. And Kari, thank you for being our wizard at the back of these sessions. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. Boom.
Thank you, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Da, 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 da.